Now, how well you are doing on eBay right this very second in summer of 2025 will depend on a few key factors. Some folks are doing the best they have ever done in their entire lives on eBay, and others are doing terrible. Today we're going to address the actual and very specific reasons on why that is. Hey, it's Don. Today we're going to delve into eBay sales. Right now we're in summer. For many folks on eBay, your summer takes a dip. The summer dip. Everybody talks about it every single year. It happens year after year after year. It's happened since eBay has been a thing. In summer, people are outside or doing stuff or traveling and all sorts of other activities. A lot of them are out of work. Kids are out of school, so it's a perfect time for the family to go on trips and do whatever they may do. Now, for some folks, there isn't a summer dip like many people have. There's a small little ding in the sales, but it continues at a very nice pace and level. So there isn't some drastic cliff for some folks that falls off in summer. Now, one of the biggest key factors in how well you are doing obviously comes down to what you sell. We base our sales on what would be considered expendable income. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean by basing our sales on expendable income? That means it's extra money. Folks have money just to spend and throw out there and get anything they want, or to buy a certain percentage of things they want that are not useful. A collectible, a comic book for hundreds of dollars, or $1,000, a $500 baseball card, a $2,000 MOC mint on the card action figure from the 70s or something. People who buy those sorts of things have expendable income. Now, why would that be important? Some people have a very small dip in the summer, if a dip at all. Some people right now are having the best sales they've ever had in almost 30 years of selling online. We are in that group. We have never had sales as we are having them right now in summer. In COVID times, we had winter sales, fourth quarter, third quarter, first, second quarter, even depending on, seasonal stuff. But we were having phenomenal record sales then. We actually broke every record in sales by thousands of dollars right now in the summer, right this very second. Now, we've steered our business away from things that are necessities, so to speak. Things that economically wouldn't be feasible to folks that are living paycheck to paycheck. I've lived paycheck to paycheck, as well as Marky, my wife, for years and years, decades of our life, especially when our kids were younger and throughout that time frame. That whole time I was working for somebody else when we were living the paycheck to paycheck and barely getting ahead with the bills and, car payments, whatever else there was going on. I realized, working for other folks as a general manager, a regional manager, and other aspects, that you want to gear your business towards a demographic that can afford things regardless of the season, the time of the year, what's going on in the economy, and the whole works. A high-end luxury dining facility, restaurant, whatever it may be, still does business in a downtime because the average person may not go out to eat, but those at the top of the food chain can still go and do whatever they want. And again, that's part of the reason a large chunk of eBay sellers don't have any issues, with the summer slowdown or anything else like that, and right now are doing phenomenally well. Now, if you look at the percentage of folks living in this country, United States of America, paycheck to paycheck, it's over 60%. Now, these aren't my numbers. I didn't come up with these. I looked at multiple sources, including government-published figures, going back several years, so I'm not tying it to any specific, president or anything else like that. The numbers speak for themselves. So if you're selling to somebody who's in that paycheck to paycheck, they're not going to be able to buy anything else to some extent other than the necessities. And as I said, I am in no way trying to disparage anybody. I'm just giving you a business standpoint on if you want to do better, you've got to change up things to attract the folks that can always have the money coming into your store. that can always buy things. Collectible niches. And yes, niches is correct. I'm constantly told that I'm pronouncing it wrong. There's two pronunciations for the word, and I hate that I have to say this, but if I bring it up in a conversation, it almost always gets a comment from somebody that I'm pronouncing it wrong. So I'm just going to put that out there. Look it up if you doubt that question. But anyway, the point here is we've steered our business over the last, say, 15 years away from our traditional items we used to sell. We used to sell clothing. We used to scan books. I used to do all of that sort of thing. I used to do garage sales and, you know, that kind of thing as well. Thrift stores, immensely. That was our key prime area. We moved slowly from there into antique malls, flea markets, and festivals, as well as my experience from being a general manager, running my own store, to running entire regions as a district regional manager, which I did for quite a few years. I've learned where to go with the business, what's going to get us continual income all year round, and going to be able to weather the storm when, say, tariffs start to raise the cost of everything across the country. Tariffs are a way you could have been making money for the last several months as well. I've talked about those issues and things you could actually make money with tariffs in my Patreon group, as well as they'll be up posted in my YouTube membership as well. But the point here is there's always an opportunity to sell things and have good sales. Now, who's not doing good right now? It's the folks that are selling to the people that can't afford to buy extra stuff. The people that have to buy only essentials. School stuff, school supplies right now are in high demand because everyone's going back to school. All the kids are going back to school starting this month. So they're not going to be buying the everyday essentials, pots, pans, clothing, unless it's kids' clothing right now. It happens every year at the same time. It has started to pick up in sales for school supplies at the end of July, again, like it always does, right after the fourth little bump you get from the 4th of July. These are all trends. These are all things everybody can look at. If you're selling things to people who don't have expendable income, you're not going to do well in summer for the most part. If you're not changing up what you sell from a winter setup to a summer setup, you might not be doing well also. But I can tell you without any doubt in my mind and pretty much everybody else I've talked to, if you're selling collectibles, if you're selling antiques in niches, whether they be baseball, sports cards, comic books, vintage toys, vintage collectibles, vintage trade cards, collectibles into the military and photo collectibles. I mean, there's just so many vintage items. Those are selling extremely well. And as I said, we are so far up beyond what we did during COVID. Now, why might the collectibles field go up right now? Well, travel is pretty much dying off right now because of tariffs, because of other countries not wanting to come here because of the tariffs that this country put on and things along that line. It's just what happens when, you know, tariffs are put on. I'm not addressing the issue whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. That's not the point. The point is, though, that travel is down. Canadians aren't coming here, which was one of the biggest block that would come to this country on vacation. And Americans aren't traveling either. There's some economic wonder on what's going to happen. Uncertainty is not good for markets. So people aren't traveling even locally. They're cutting back on expenses with the household needs that they have. With buying a new pair of jeans, they may wait another month or two. New shoes, they can put it off a little while. And as well with the cost raising of shipping things, like for selling a pot or a pan or something, this is an example I've used many times with other folks and in groups I do as well. A pot or a pan, you know, by the time you add the shipping cost in, even if it's a nice quality one, it'll still be cheaper most all of the time to buy those sorts of items locally. Not always. You know, glassware, yes. If it's a collectible, again, that's a totally different story. The folks aren't traveling, so what they're doing is they're buying more collectibles. They're still spending some money, but not anywhere near what they would have spent if they traveled overseas or traveled on vacation or traveled across the country on some trip to see grandma or to see, you know, some family member or something. Those trips aren't happening nearly as much, so again, people are pouring that out to at least get some enjoyment to expand their collection. Even when this sort of thing isn't going on, if you sell stuff to folks who have expendable income, they still buy during the summer months. If I'm selling a collectible in a niche that someone's trying to collect all of that specific item, and I'm listing through summer, through winter, they're going to buy whenever I list the new items because they want to finish off their collection. If they're a diehard collector or a modest collector that still wants to do their best to keep adding pieces to their collection, they're going to buy in summer. If it's something they've been looking for a couple of years or even months on end trying to find and it shows up in summer, again, they're going to buy it. That's why it doesn't matter if you list Christmas or Halloween, in January, February, March, April, May, June, July. It doesn't matter what month you list any of that stuff. Because if it's the right collectible, just like baseball cards or movie collectibles, a movie poster from a classic film, Forbidden Planet or something, it's not going to matter when you list it. It's not going to be a summer dip on something like that. And it's never been a summer dip on those types of items. The highest selling comic books on the market sell all year round pretty much the same. Markets fluctuate, so all comics could lower 10, 15, 20%. All toys could lower 10, 15, 20%, depending on market trends. And these are things everybody can look up. There's so many sites out there that delve into the toy market or any market out there, the book market, clothing market. The facts are out there, so you can help you steer which way your business is going to go. Here's a perfect example. I still have a day and a half left for our weekly payout. You can see it's a weekly payout. And this is our next payout, which is going to hit us on Tuesday. Every Tuesday we get a payout. This is actually after all of our eBay fees, including our store subscription fee, has been taken out. So all the eBay fees, all the shipping labels up to the last very few items have been taken out. This is what we take home. This is mostly all profit. It's about 95% profit. And that is a factual number as well because of how we do our business. The money's there in the summer. This is, again, as I said, the best we have ever done. But we steer our business away from the traditional markets into the niches and collectibles because they don't die off like, clothing or whatever the case may be, home goods or any of that sort of thing. Shipping a big heavy set of china across the country is very expensive. So like china sets, you don't sell much of them online like you used to because we used to sell whole sets of china back in the day. It's far cheaper to even buy it locally for most all of that sort of thing. So the antiques though, if you have an antique china set that's worth a few $1,000s, you're going to have no problem selling that right now and shipping it across the country, and they won't have any problem paying the shipping costs. If you're selling the right things, the shipping fees, the season, none of that stuff matters. And these are just facts. I've been selling as a reseller online since long before eBay even existed, going back to Yahoo auctions, and it's always been this way. It has always been the same type of thing. There's cylindrical markets that go up and down and, stuff like that happens all the time. Yeah, sure, the current state of the economy could affect the overall prices and things, but the rarest of the rare, the hard-to-get collectibles are always sought after. And again, expendable income. And I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but these are all reasons why we are doing the best we have ever done in our entire lives as a reseller. We've never made this much money in a short period of time like this. Not even COVID. And COVID numbers at that point were the best we had ever done. They helped us afford the house, the building, the property, acreage of land, because we were able to put down a monstrous amount as a deposit because of all the income that was coming in during that time frame. And this is surpassing that. In just the last few months, it's been going up and up. We have had no dip off from fourth quarter of last year, but rather we have seen a 30 or 40% increase above and beyond our COVID numbers. I truly, honestly hope that gives you some thoughts and helps you with your business, helps you understand why sales may not be doing well for you. It gives you an opportunity to switch things up before it starts to get worse. And if you pay any attention to markets and the numbers that just came out for July, you're going to realize that this will probably get worse for the economy. So selling the same items that aren't selling right now is not a future plan for you. You should probably look into starting to add little by little other items into your business model, because that's the best way out of situations. If your items aren't selling, especially if you've been doing this for years and they haven't been selling for years, or the sales volume keeps going down and down, those are things to be concerned about and to think about switching up what you do for your business. I can tell you though that once you understand the markets, once you understand collectibles or niches, they're not making new items in those fields. So once you know those fields, you are pretty much set as long as you're able to look outside the box. We have a very relaxed life these days with what we do, with the items that we sell. No stress, very easygoing. And reselling is the reason all of that was possible for us. Selling the right things, understanding those things enough, investing in yourself so that you learn other items, not just bringing a phone that you have to look up every single item, but knowing enough to just walk in somewhere and grab the best item in that store, the best items in the store, the ones that will make you the most money, and leaving the other junk behind. Not taking potluck with stuff either. But anyway, that's it for today. I truly hope that's helpful. I truly hope that you understand what is going on and why right now people are doing either phenomenally well or phenomenally bad. But if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell all your friends.
Walks downstairs alone or in pairs and makes the slinkety sound. A spring, a marvelous thing. Everyone knows it's Slinky. Everyone knows it's Slinky.
Slinky sold separately in metal and plastic.